Hello to all of our YouTube subscribers and viewers. Today we're bringing you another car from Tom Quercia's collection. You may remember a few weeks ago we featured Tom's all-original 53 Mercury Custom. That video was a big hit because everybody loves original cars, even if they're not perfect. And because this Mercury Custom is over 70 years old, it makes seeing it even more interesting. When we spent some time with Tom shooting his Mercury feature, we also spotted another low-mile, all-original gem sitting next to the Merc, a 66 Chevy Impala Super Sport hardtop. And you're going to love this one. Please be sure to like this video and share it with other car people because they'll love it too. It's a testament to how garage storage, routine maintenance, and keeping the vehicle clean can preserve it even though it's nearly 60 years old. We know you'll enjoy this week's feature. Now, let's go for a ride.
Hi, my name is Tom, and this is my 1966 Impala Super Sport. I've only owned it for roughly 2 years. It's a funny story with it. I had been searching for a 66 Impala for 2-3 years, a Super Sport. And friends of mine would find them on Facebook and Craigslist and this and that. But I was very particular about the color. And I always seemed to find white ones with red interior. And nah, that's not going to work for me. I don't like white cars, and I don't like anything. I can't get anywhere within a mile of anything that's red. So I always would turn them down. I always wanted that kind of silver blue one, and I kind of liked that. There was a green, I don't know what the proper name was. It was this kind of tinted down green one, somewhat semi-metallic, and I liked that, and I couldn't find one. And then a couple of years ago, my friend Nick says, I found a car for you. And it's local, because every car I've bought in the last 20 years, I've always bought them out of state. I buy them in Montana, Idaho, Washington State, Oregon, California, and I always travel to go get them. And this one was local. I was like, wow. He sent me a picture of it, and right away I didn't like it. I said, I like the black, but I don't like the white interior. And he goes, why? He said, it's a real nice contrast. And he goes, let's go look at it. We went over and looked at it. The guy opened the garage door. I walked in the garage and I looked at it and I instantly fell in love with it. I go, you were right. The white and the black go very well together, and the rest was history. Made a deal with the guy. I mean, it took an hour of haggling, but we settled on a price, which I thought was very reasonable. I bought the car and I never looked back. And it's been a great running car. I did have a hiccup at first. The power brake booster was bad, and I thought, well, 66, 65 Impalas, they made millions of them. No problem finding a power brake booster. Wrong. We searched for a month. Nowhere in North America could we find a remanufactured one or a new one. We couldn't find one, and we were all shocked in the car clubs, the car people that I'm involved with. We said, how can that be? They made so many of these cars. Nowhere could we find one. And I don't know if it's a supply chain issue during that period or what it was. So finally, a friend of mine found one out at Speedway Auto out in Tolleson. And I took the measurements where it mounts to the, I looked at the pictures, it looked like the right one. I took the measurements and we measured it was 3.5 across and 3.5 down. I go, and I called them and they go, that's what it is. So I went out there, I took the tape measure with me and measured them, bought it, reasonable price. It was like $130 or something. Brought it home and it wouldn't mount. Turned out that the two top ones were 3.5. From top to bottom was 3.5, but the bottom spread was wider on the one and it wouldn't go on. So then we went to Arizona Brake and Clutch because they rebuild stuff like that down there on off McDowell and I-17. And I said, can you rebuild us? And we go, well, we don't know. We have to talk to the tech out back. We don't know if we have parts for it. And I go, well, can you tell me? And they go, well, leave it here and we'll call you. And I go, okay, how much will it cost? They couldn't give me a price. I said, how long will it take? They couldn't tell me. So I said, all right. So I left it there, went back about 3 days later, and he goes, okay, we can do it. And it's like $160. And I said, do it. So 2 days later, they called me and they had rebuilt mine. And I was like, finally. Because I went through this for weeks. I could drive the car with the old one, but it was super stiff pedal. And then once we took it off, couldn't drive the car. Finally, we got it on and it worked. I was like, everything's right with the world now. I have power brakes and it works right. Other than that, that's the only mechanical thing I've had to do to the car. I don't really have a good background history of the car. I bought it from a guy in Chandler. He only had it for a couple of years. And he said that he bought it from a friend of his that had 3 of them in Nebraska. He said that his friend told him this car came from California, which I don't know whether I believe it or not. But I've had my body guy go over the car, and he said it's a rust-free car. So I said, okay, it's good enough for me. So as far as I know, I bought it from a guy that got it from Nebraska, and he said that guy got it from California. But I don't know. And then there was another thing about the car, which is very suspect. When I looked at the car, on the odometer, it said 9,000 something miles. And I go, well, that's not original. And he goes, no, he said, it's an original 9,000 mile car. And I'm like, not possible. And he swore that it was, but I never for a minute believed him. And I showed it to a lot of different people. And a few people go, no, it could be. And now it's got 12,000 on the odometer. I put 3,000 miles on it since I've owned it. And some people have looked at it and said, no, it could be a 12,000 mile car. And I go, no. So in my view, it's a 112,000 mile car, which is still acceptable, and it's a solid car. The front end's tight, no wandering, no ball joint problems, and which these things were notorious for wearing out ball joints. So I'm like, okay, I accept it as a 112,000 mile car. Happy with it. It's turnkey. It runs great. It looks good. It's a 10-footer. If you get real close, you can find blemishes in the paint and some lacquer checking, but it's a 10-footer, and from 10 foot on, it's beautiful. So that's all I care about. And the interior, again, supposed to be original, and we've gone over it with some people I know, some very people that really know what they're doing, and they believe that it's 100% original interior. It's in super good condition, but if you look close, it's got some cracks and some flaws in it. So I do believe that the interior is original. We think that the carpet has probably been replaced, but the seats and the door panels, we totally believe they're 100% original. So I'm happy with that. There's no reason to doubt that. And I'm a stickler for originality. I like original cars. I don't like cars that have been completely restored. They're nice. I'm not knocking them, but it's not my taste. I like original survivor cars. And this, to me, is 90% original, and it fills that void, that position that I like about a car. That they're original motor, original transmission, original everything. And these are driver cars. This is not a show car. I drive this car almost every day, and it's turnkey. I hit the key, it fires up, I drive it around, the brakes work good. It had a funky set of wheels on it when I bought it, and I didn't like them. They were like 72, 73 Camaro rallies, and they looked ugly on this car. I put a set of American torque thrusts on it, because that's what we used to do back in the day, and I put them on, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it looked, so we started searching around. I found a set of original Super Sport caps, bought a set of nice white walls for it, and put those on, and I went, that's what this car is supposed to look like. Because the car is original, it needs original wheels. So that's kind of the story of how I got it, where I got it, and it's one of those kind of cars that kind of grows on you as you drive it. It's a pleasure to drive. We've gone over this thing, really, I had Nick go over it, and I'm convinced that this is original interior.
Oh, yeah.
Except we believe the carpet has been replaced, but the seats and the headliner and the door panels are all
you can see the wear right here.
You can see a little bit of wear here and there, a crack here, and a slight
it looks
discoloration.
original. It sure does.
But other than that, it's very original.
Yeah.
And I love
original cars.
And this car has a working clock.
That's unbelievable.
Has a working AM/FM factory radio.
That's amazing.
I've never bought an old car that had a working radio. Maybe once, but I've never bought a car with a working clock. It's a little. So, there we go. Yeah, it's just a nice, good driving, pleasurable, easy car to drive. You know, power steering, power brakes, no air, but I don't care. It's just a good, solid survivor car.
Car sounds good.
This?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's got that nice and mellow small block Chevy tone to it. Yeah, it's just an easy car to drive. It's dependable. Sometimes, every once in a while, which probably with most carbureted cars, the carburetor will act up a little bit. You know, it'll kind of seem like it's flooding a little bit.
I think that's today's fuel more than anything.
Yeah, it might be. And so sometimes I start it up in the morning and it sits there and blubbers. And I can tell that it's just not right. And I just put it in neutral and hold the RPMs up a little so it kind of cleans out, and that's fine. And it's like, after that, like right now, it's as smooth as silk, you know. The only thing I don't like about a lot of these 60s cars, no gauges. I'm a gauge guy. I like to know what the oil pressure is. I like to know what the engine temperature is. I like to know that it's charging. You know, they got idiot lights, and you suppose that they're working, but you don't know. And I haven't had any issues with it, so I'm okay. The car's okay.
Well, it sure is a beautiful car, and thanks for sharing it with us and our viewers today. They're going to enjoy it very much.
I'm really glad you guys came over to take a look at it, yeah.
Well, how did you guys like this beauty? Rarely do we find an all-original car this nice, with an owner who's willing to show it to us and fill us in on all the details of the story. So, our thanks again to Tom Quercia for taking the time to do just that. Leave a comment on what you think of this beautiful Super Sport, or any other memories you have of a similar car. As always, we really appreciate you watching our video. We have many more that you can find by clicking on the channel name. Next week, we'll be bringing you our list of the top 10 most interesting Ford Broncos. Don't miss it, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.